Why do you think that now is such an important time? Like what for this project that we're doing, the Regenerative Coffee Farming workshop? It's going to be a 3-phase project, folks, but the one in October is the first phase of that. Why is it so important, Felipe?
Because it's working.
Amazing answer.
Because
Amazing
because it's working. We've finally found the solutions, and there's really people are not really finding arguments against it. So there's obviously issues that we need to overcome. How do we prune? How do we, there's all challenges, but it's working. Farms that are doing this are finding solutions. A lot of the techniques, they're really working, and I think it's time. I think the climate is changing much faster than we would had imagined, and these things, they take time.
Map It Forward Business Mastermind groups are back for 2024. And if past mastermind groups are anything to go by, you absolutely want to be a part of this if you're a business owner ready for change. Spots are limited to 10 people per group. And if you own a business in the coffee sector and are looking for support in a nurturing and focused group coaching environment, this could be the thing that helps you through these challenging times in coffee and jumpstarts your planning for 2025. There are 3 mastermind groups, each with a different business focus. I will be your coach, and the first one will be focused on strategic business planning, the second one on business growth, and the third on increasing your sales in coffee, both B2B and B2C. Groups start the week commencing October 7, and prices start at $189 per month for 3 months. You get a discount if you pay all 3 months in advance. Previous participants found these groups life-changing for their business, and all groups come with a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're interested in finding out more or registering, head to mapitforward.coffee/group coaching or check the links in the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 2 of a wonderful 5-part series that I'm very excited that we get to bring you. This is the series about regenerative coffee farming. And for the second episode, I have the first of my friends that is helping me in this project, Felipe Croce. Welcome back to the podcast for like the 300th time, I think.
Thank you, Lee. It's always a pleasure.
It is my pleasure, my friend, and I get to do this project with you, which is an even deeper pleasure. Felipe, obviously, everyone knows you from FAF Coffees in Brazil. Brazil's having a really hard time right now. Do you want to help us start this conversation, given that it's about regenerative agriculture and your farm is really focused even further than regenerative ag? You guys are focused on agroforestry. Can you help people understand the journey from conventional, I guess the difference between conventional, regenerative, and agroforestry?
Well, sure. Conventional agriculture, which is only conventional since the 1950s, is monoculture, and it has been brought upon producers aggressively as the way to go forward and feed the world. So it's focusing on one crop and the maximization of that one crop, and eliminating anything that is in competition with that crop. So it is efficient in the short term, and providing what the plant needs on a very calculated base of like a numbers-based reading of macro micronutrients, and eliminating anything that could be a pest. So it also keeps the soil very exposed. So that's kind of become what has spread through the world since the 1950s, and bringing a lot of things from the outside into the farm. Regenerative is a great word that has become popular recently. And I like regenerative because it means actively improving,
Mm.
right? So you're regenerating a soil, you're regenerating biodiversity, you're regenerating water, you're regenerating communities. You by definition, you are getting to a place that's better than where you were. Whereas
Mm.
sustainability is about preserving. It's about maybe delivering that farm the same way you got it. But
Mm.
in regeneration, you deliver that farm better than the way you got it. So I really like that word. There's very loose definitions of regenerative. There's starting to be a certification of regenerative, but it's very, it's not organic. It's very loose at the moment. A lot of times it's a very beginner level, like doing cover crops and calling that regenerative. But just starting to step away from monoculture is a big step
Mm.
in the right direction.
Go
And
ahead.
agroforest,
Yeah.
just to finish answering your question, agroforestry is a management system of ecology, which can be applied to all different kinds of crops. But depending on the type of crop, crops are naturally found in different places in nature. So coffee's from the outskirts of a forest, semi-shaded forest. So it invites a lot of biodiversity. Whereas you can do agroforestry vineyard, but the vines need a lot more sun, so you would have less trees. But there's no real definition of agroforestry at the moment, which is something we need to work on. And perhaps it's actually a scale as opposed to a pass fail. It should be a scale in my mind,
Mm.
because to me, having one type of tree only and one crop is two monocultures. But it's better. It's already 100% increase on biodiversity, but it's not an agroforestry. So an agroforestry is a diverse management system which increases biodiversity, and through that, the resilience of the system itself.
Given the challenging weather conditions that have been happening in Brazil recently, the last couple of years, this year there's been severe drought. You guys got a little bit of rain last week. How important a role is regenerative agriculture going to play and agroforestry going to play in the difference between farms that will be able to withstand these conditions and those who won't?
Sure. Well, I'll just give you some data points of the moment we're at right now. It's September 24th, 2024. We are currently in the worst drought in the last recorded history. The last 50 years for sure, maybe more than that. It stopped raining in April. This is our last rain of more than 10 millimeters or 15 millimeters. We've got very little rain after that. The deficit in the soils in the major producing regions of Brazil are between 100 and more, usually more than 100 millimeter deficit in the soils of water. In many of the big producing regions like Sul de Minas, Cerrado, Alta Mogiana, you have more than 200 deficit millimeters of water, and in some cases more than 300. So depending on the different types of soil that you can withstand, what the plants can withstand before they start to really start to die and to fall apart and to go into self-preservation, is about 150 millimeters.
Wow.
But coffee trees are very resilient. They can withstand a lot, but in most soils above 150, there's really nothing you can do. And the only thing you can do is water. So, and coffee is one of the most resilient crops, much more than lots of other food crops and stuff like that. So, not just has it not rained, but it's been hot. It's been over 30 degrees almost every single day this winter. It's been almost, what if we can call that a winter? It's been at noon, 1 in the afternoon, it's been 35 degrees C on the regular. And
Wow.
September has been 0.5 C higher than 2023, which was the hottest year on record.
Wow.
So
Wow.
evapotranspiration is also at the highest. We're losing 6 millimeters per day. So it rained on Thursday and the market went, woohoo! It's like
Yeah.
people are celebrating. It rained 2 millimeters.
Okay, so that's not really enough to even wet the
No,
plants.
on the farm. So keeping soil exposed, just to give an example, is using herbicides and just doing the ABC of conventional monoculture. It's kind of like leaving a wound open, exposed wound, or adding mulch and adding grass, or getting cover crops and stuff like that. That's like covering that wound to begin with. So depending on your regenerative farming mechanism, and I walk around the farm and I see, I took over the farm 2018 and replanted a lot of the crops. So a lot of my trees are still starting to form shade. Where I have shade, the trees are just infinitely better and healthy and going to produce really well, as opposed to where I don't have shade. And so where I have shade, my estimates are that I can reduce the soil deficits in water like upwards of 80% or more. And so with techniques of agroforestry and mulching and soil coverage and stuff like that. So I'll try to make a video for the October class
Workshop.
so that we can and show that moment. But it's just that, most scientists say that 10 years from now, we'll look back at 2024 and say, wow, that was a cold and wet year. So I think that it's just, when we talk about coffee farming in Brazil, all of the models since early 2000s have said that by 2050, the amount of area that will be farmable for coffee will be reduced by 50%. So we hear these things and we don't really react. and until it starts to really affect us. But then, a lot of times it's too late. Like I said, I started planting trees, 6 years ago, and they're only now starting. And I've been facing drought and ants. So, we have time, but we got to get started right away. And I think this needs to be a movement. I can't just do it on my farm because my ecosystem around me is being destroyed. So that's why I'm interested in being a part of this. And that's why I want is to create a movement. I think we need a movement. We need it fast. I think we're really worried about, 2050, 25 years from now is right around the corner.
Yep.
And things will start getting harder probably sooner than that. A lot of scientists say that we have about 60 crop cycles left on Earth to feed people at the levels we feed. And so scientists say these things and we hear these things and it just doesn't sink in to people. So we just, it's time to act and time to do something. So conventional monoculture, I'm not going to go into it and explain all the reasons why. There's a lot anyone can research online. It's not working. We have to go away from it.
And if I understand you correctly, I call you guys my professors in agriculture. Guys, if you're listening to this and you're wondering who is she talking about, you're going to meet them through this series, all my agriculture professors. They're brilliant. And what I have learnt from them, Felipe, you being one of them, obviously, is that you are not immune to what's happening in Brazil. You just build yourself a longer runway so that you're not going to be as impacted early in to the harsh weather. You can survive a little longer than others, but you are impacted. Am I understanding that correctly?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm one farm in the middle of what's becoming a desert.
Right. So the heat, the regenerative agricultural, well, you're at the point of agroforestry, but simply having And people will hear when Joao explains it to us in the final episode of this series. He said this really fascinating thing to me. We recorded it before we recorded this one, guys. But he said to me, the moment you expose soil in nature, it finds a way to cover it back up. You don't find exposed soil in culture. I'd never, ever thought of that before he said it to me. And what I am coming to realize is that a lot of people perhaps have just been a part of the conventional agriculture cult and didn't know that there were alternatives that are actually traditional ways of farming and are natural ways of the ecosystem being in balance. And that's what you're talking about when you talk about regenerative agriculture, is just restoring the balance, restoring the harmony that happens in ecosystems. And what the results have been from the people who I've spoken to, my professors, is that they have survived this and weathered this crisis that producers are experiencing better than their neighbors or better than people who are not participating in this, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we see soils that are building organic matter. They can withstand more than 150 millimeter deficit, and or the fact that they take longer, they evapotranspirate less because the soil holds on to the water longer. So one of the two. But these movements were called fringe and alternative 20 years ago. They're no longer fringe and alternative. They're being studied even by big conventional producers, and they're very important movements. But they were at one point conventional. I mean, if we look at South America for thousands of years before the Portuguese here, we have a phenomenon in the Amazon called terra preta de índio.
Okay.
And that's one thing we'll talk about. It's black soil of black soil of the Indian in Portuguese.
Okay.
So they used to, because soy farmers in Brazil who they cut down the forest and they plant soy, they complain because they say the soil in the Amazon is really weak and it's sandy, and they can only get 5 crops out after they burn the Amazon. But there are areas, and it's not little, it's like 2 to 3% of the area of the Amazon that geologists found this black soil of the Indian, which is from anywhere from 30 centimeters to 200 centimeters down, just black, rich, deep soil that is so fertile and anything grows. And they used to think that was geological formations from rivers and stuff like that. They've recently found out that the Indians made that soil.
Wow.
From agroforestry, from rebuilding and
like
rebuilding.
biochar.
It could be partly from biochar because you can use the carbon that is burnt. It's like a home, we call it.
Like a honeycomb for bugs, right?
Yeah, but it's the biodegrading and the increasing of organic matter over a long period of time. So they farmed there were like 20 million indigenous. They farmed for all those people without bringing in nitrogen and phosphorus from Ukraine and Russia. So, and even like conventional farmers are going crazy right now because as of October, there's going to be, the taxes on nitrogen, fertilizers are going from 0 to 17%.
Wow.
So people have just been trained that fertility comes from the store. And that's not true. It doesn't need to come from the store. So it's these things we'll talk about in the class is question in a non fringe way, in a non-political way, in a straightforward things that are working, and you can adhere to them as you will, and use, and you can be anywhere on the scale from monoculture to agroforestry, organic, whatever works for you. But it's really about building resilience and building fertility so that we can reverse this trend of only 60 soil crop cycles left on the planet, which is, to me, is insane.
Why do you think that now is such an important time? Like, what for this project that we're doing, the Regenerative Coffee Farming workshop? It's going to be a 3-phase project, folks, but the one in October is the first phase of that. Why is it so important, Felipe?
Because it's working.
Amazing answer.
Because
Amazing
because it's working. We've finally found the solutions, and there's really people are not really finding arguments against it. So there's obviously issues that we need to overcome. How do we prune? How do we, there's all challenges, but it's working. Farms that are doing this are finding solutions. A lot of the techniques, they're really working, and I think it's time. I think the climate is changing much faster than we would had imagined, and these things, they take time. The only thing is that it takes time, and it partially takes even more time because people have a steep learning curve depending on where they come from. It's mostly the mindset. So we don't have, when we say we have 25 years to get ready in Brazil, I don't know if that's enough time.
Wow. It really does get alarming when you start to think of, well, this is not just about growing coffee. This is about every single commodity that is grown from the ground. This is everything. This is our food source. This is our ability to feed ourselves as a global community.
Yeah, it starts with, like, if your business is coffee, you should be paying attention.
Yeah.
If you sell coffee in any way, you really should be worried. But if in general, food in general, if we don't fix this on a big trend, food is going to be a lot more expensive, and it's going to take over coffee farms because the cost of people will pay so much more. The people will be so desperate for food that they will use coffee farm lands to plant food. We see this in Vietnam already with a durian, which I've never heard of, is taking the place of coffee because it's more profitable for farms. So we need to reverse this trend on a large scale, and it's bigger than just coffee. But coffee can be, because it's such a biodiverse and a plant that has its home from an Ethiopian forest, it can really, the agroforestry can really be the solution to a lot of the problems we're facing. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Who should come to this workshop?
Everybody.
Tell me why roasters should come.
Because I think in order to sell coffee, you need to understand coffee. I think people who sell coffee, they need to understand it as a product, as an agricultural product, as they need to be able to understand. Otherwise, you're selling price. And I think whoever's going to sell price, 90% of you are guys going to be out of business in the next 10 years.
People don't believe me when I tell them that.
These customers are not loyal to you. They're loyal to your price. And it's just going to be a bloodbath of who's going to undercut the other one. But if you can tell people about how coffee is farmed and what's going on in origin, what's changing, and connect people, because price is an indicator, and price is not where we should be looking at. It's one of the things we'll talk about, particularly I'll talk about in terms of how to sell your coffee, not just for producers, but as all of us. I think that the indicator that changes the needle is the values. And, how much does someone value something is what they're willing to pay. So we need to fundamentally change people's value of coffee. Whether you're a barista talking to a final consumer, a roaster talking to a wholesale customer, farmer, And I think farms have an incredible role of educating people at the farms the way vineyards do. I think we can really educate people that are visiting the farms. We can transform their mindset. So I think that farmers need to be on a whole, we need to step up our game and be way more educated and professional so that we can teach people. Farmers need to be teachers of this movement, and we need to create a movement on a big scale to explain to someone the way someone would buy grass-fed meat over hormone-filled meat.
Mm-hmm.
Management system. Those systems, we need to educate people, and so I think if you work in coffee industry, you should understand more about how it's grown and how those things affect, and also how to read your industry, to read what affects the plant, so that you can see trends beforehand. You can see when things are going bad, and you can see when they're going to get tougher before anyone else does.
To wrap up this conversation, this brilliant, brilliant conversation, I can tell people till I'm blue in the face why we're doing this project. It's more important for people to understand why you're doing this project. Why is this project worthy of us? Are we doing this to raise money, to make money? Please help people understand why we found this project necessary. We're about the two least capitalistic people that you will meet in business. So we're good, conscious capitalists, but this is not about that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we even had one single conversation about how any of the value is going to be broken down, or don't even care. No, I mean, like, we need to run profitable businesses so we can do what we're doing. But no, I on a personal level, I think we could really use a network, a global network, and just banking on trying to find people that genuinely want to make a better world, as opposed to cause disruption. I think it's a challenge creating a big group of people, because there's always people in there who have an agenda seems like they have an agenda to just cause ruckus. But I genuinely think that if you create a group that has an aligned value, which is like, what kind of world would you like to live in the future? And I'm not going to be able to make a change for the world, for the next generation, just sitting on my farm as the world around me burns down, literally. So I think coffee is in a moment where we've taken coffee very far. The past generations have done a great job, but we're in this moment of where we've got no leadership at the moment, and with all due respect, with everyone's come before, coffee's a bit lost at the moment. Everyone's sort of fighting for survival at the moment, and I think that it's gone back to price, and I think that it's got to go back to values. So that's what I'm really interested in, is creating aligned values with a global network.
I'm really proud to be doing this project with you. I'm really, really proud to be doing this project, and I'm proud to be doing it with the people that I'm doing it with. My professors have really reinstated my hope for the future. You guys are, we're all very nervous about the future, but this is a project that helps give people who are participating and who are banking on the fact that we'll have a future in our industry, it's giving them a functional way to start creating that. And I'm very excited about that. And again, I'm very proud to be doing it with you guys. So for those who would like to participate, this workshop is going to cost $10 for coffee producers, $150 per ticket for everybody else. And that $150 includes 14 tickets that are a pay-it-forward system to coffee producers who perhaps can't afford to buy their own ticket. So it's being done on an honor system. So if you're a barista that can't afford the $150 ticket, go ahead and buy the $10 ticket. We don't want anyone paying $150 if they can't afford it. But if you can, please. This workshop is going to benefit everybody so that you understand where the direction of coffee producing should be going. And so that you can explain to your customers why the cost of producing coffee is going up, why the cost of selling roasted coffee is going up. You have to be empowered with the information to be able to start having those conversations with your customers. And this workshop is the beginning of that journey. So we encourage you to head to the Map It Forward website, mapitforward.coffee. There you'll find all the information. The workshop will happen in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. There will be, throughout this series, you will meet my professors and you will start to see why they are involved in this project. They're brilliant. That's all you need to say, all you need to hear. The people that are doing this, the presentations in this series, are brilliant people with brilliant hearts. And the thing that blew me away when I went to these guys with this project and I asked some of them, like, how much would you want to do this? Everybody said, this is not about the money. And that's how I knew I was working with the right people. For us to be able to offer these tickets at $10 each, it was so that we could make sure everyone who wanted access got access. So please, folks, head to mapitforward.coffee. Also check out FAF Coffees. Links are in the show notes. Felipe, thank you again. Will you do me the honor by signing off the episode for us?
Of course, Lee. Peace, love, and peanut butter, guys.
Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Bye. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon, and stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.